Imagine every sound you hear is for a reason and to control you. The sound of control isn't silence. It's everywhere. And most people never notice. The people behind the curtain, the people that really control everything on planet Earth, control the politicians, control everything. They use one technique more than ever to control you. Imagine every sound you hear is for a reason and to control you. What most people can't grasp is the people behind the curtain who pull the strings on everything on planet Earth use a variety of methods to control the masses. Remember, the elites are a very small group of people. It's a cabal. It's a group of people, these privileged, superior in their own mind people who believe they're better than everyone else, use techniques to control the masses. They've done this throughout history. The British used opium to control the Chinese. Most people use guns, power. They used God and religion. A whole host of techniques. But there's one technique that is being used by the elites that no one even thinks about. It's a weapon. It's powerful. It's sound. Now think about it. How many things in your life beep? Think about this. You get in the car today. How many times does it beep? It beeps when you open the door. It beeps if you don't put on your seatbelt. It beeps when you do anything. Oh, you're getting a little close to the car to the right. It beeps. Think about your washer machine. It beeps when you open the door. It beeps when you close the door. It beeps when you turn it on. It beeps when you turn it off. Think about how everything is beeping, 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 beeping. This is just one sound technique that's designed to control your brain, to put you in a controlling state. Really? How do you train a dog? Did you ever hear something called a clicker? You have a dog. I don't know if it's trained, but you have a dog. They have a clicker. You make the sound, click, and then you give the dog a treat. And the dog connects the sound of the click with the treat, or the sound of the click with the penalty. And then it learns. You are controlling the animal. The elites are doing the same thing. And that's just one sound technique. There are dozens that are being used. Example, you're in your house. You're sitting, it's quiet, there's nobody in your house. It's beautiful, you're peaceful. And then the power goes out. And all of a sudden you realize, wow, it's really quiet now. And then the power goes on, and then you hear for the first time that low-level hum of all the different devices in your house that's been in the background the entire time. That is a weapon being used to control your brain, to put you in a state of submissiveness where you will do what I tell you to do. This is a technique that's being used and has been used and is incredibly effective. Why? Because you never see it coming and you have no knowledge that it's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Beep, turn up, put your seatbelt on. Beep, put your seatbelt on. Beep, I'm putting my seatbelt on to stop the beep. The beep is pain. When you're in that car and it's beeping because you don't have your seatbelt on, it's causing you to feel pain. It's irritation, it's annoyance. It's something you want to stop. It's the old Chinese water torture, where they used to drip a piece of some water on your forehead, one drop at a time. Seems harmless, doesn't it? Lie down, and I had water drip. One drip, one drip, one drip. Each drip is harmless. It's torture, the Chinese water torture. The beeps are a form of the Chinese water torture. You have to stop the beeping, and therefore you are controlled to take action. And this is how we program you. It's a beautiful thing. I can program you, I can control you, I can make you do anything I want. That's what the elites know. If you become aware of this, now you start taking your power and control back. But if you are asleep and you're not aware of it, it's so easy to manipulate you and control you and get you to do whatever I want, anytime I want.
This covert sound and audio technology, these techniques that you say is being used on civilians, what kind of effects do they have physiologically and psychologically? What do these techniques do to people?
This is really non-lethal suppressive technology. It's in widespread use by governments. Science has now proven in laboratories that it has physiological and emotional effects, adverse effects, such as depression, anger, upset, confusion, and physiological, such as headaches, nausea, and neurological issues, which means being unbalanced. So this is in widespread use, and it has now been proven that in the US and the UK, there is absolute proven evidence that this has been used by governments to try to disperse crowds. Just recently, there was video taken of a group of people and a blacked out military type government, black op type van came, and all of a sudden everyone almost fell to the ground and just ran in all directions with a low level frequency technology, a sound. So imagine 1,000 people are gathered, a government truck or van pulls up, doesn't have to be big, and a small device just gets turned on. Of course, their ears are plugged. And within a second, the crowd just runs in all directions and scatters because the sound, which they cannot hear, has that type of powerful impact on their neurological system and their brain, their hormones, psyche, and physiology.
You say there's proof that the US government, for instance, has used sound to suppress. Is this documented?
Non-lethal acoustic weapons. That's what the US Department of Defense calls it. It's documented. It's been used in conflict. It's been used against civilians. It's been used against military. It's been studied, researched, most of it behind the scenes. But there's plenty of documents from the government showing that this is real. Dispersing crowds, inflicting physical pain, disorientation, confusion, anger, making people docile and suppressive. It's there. Sound and the waves that are being used out there as a weapon is something that people really need to be aware of. And if they're not aware of it, they're going to be lulled into a sleep. They're going to be lulled into sleep. You know, you take a frog and you throw it in a pot of boiling water. The frog jumps out. It doesn't want to die. You take a frog and you put him in some water and turn the heat on, and it slowly begins to come up to a boil, he cooks because they never saw it coming. He just felt it's a little warmer. Oh, it's a little warmer. Oh, it's a little warmer. All of a sudden, dead. People are the same way.
Let's talk about sound frequency and why it's so powerful. What is the science?
So let's talk about sound. Scientists know that each sound frequency has a vibration. This is what's called a sound plate. It's a square piece of metal, you put some sand on it. And underneath is a speaker. And if you turn on a frequency, the plate will vibrate. And the sand forms a symmetrical image, a pattern. And then if you change the frequency, the pattern changes. And these are beautiful patterns, like a mandala or like a crop circle, surprisingly enough. So when you change frequencies, each frequency vibrates at a certain resonance, and it will create a pattern or an imagery. This is what they use with homeopathy. They used to have little cards with little circles on it, and each of those circles represented a frequency. That's where it came from. Mainstream science now knows this is true. So all frequencies have that. We also know that certain musical tones or patterns connect the left and right brain hemisphere, which operate at different frequencies. So if you listen to Baroque classical music, for example, the brain synchronizes, the left and right brain hemisphere synchronize, and you go into an alpha state. Again, this is mainstream science. I mean, you can learn this in high school. This is not metaphysical, this is science. We also know that certain sounds and frequencies can drive you insane, make you virtually insane. We know this. Again, mainstream science, they don't teach it in high school, but they teach it in college. Go to the right class and it's there. No secret. What is the secret? And there's a lot more to that, but what is the secret is that how the elites know advanced techniques on these frequencies and how it affects the brain, your emotion, hormone production, and even your health. We know this. There used to be a commercial for Memorex, and it says, is it real or is it Memorex? And they had this crystal glass. We have a lot of crystal glasses here, beautiful Baccarat. So you have a crystal glass which resonates, it vibrates at a frequency. And the opera singer hits a note, nothing happens. She hits another note, nothing happens. But if she hits the right note that is the same frequency of that crystal glass, what happens to the glass? Shatters into a billion pieces, smash. Same thing. If I generate sound, it's a low-level sound that you can't even perceive, really. You don't even know it's there. It can affect you. It can make you docile, or it can make you angry. Oh, let's create a war. How do we get people angry at each other? How do we get people want to kill each other? What if we put a frequency and aim it at that guy's brain, and I just created a mass murderer? Why would I want to do that? Think about it. Think about it. There's a million reasons why the elites would want a mass murder at a certain point in time. Maybe it's to distract people from something going on in the White House or at the politicians. Maybe it's to get some large mass of people to back up a certain political agenda. Come on. You're smart. Be smart. You can figure out, you know exactly why and how powerful that would be if you had the ability to do that. It's being done right now. It's been done forever. And we now hear about the Havana syndrome. Yeah, it was pushed under the rug because it's revealing the power of sound and how it's used as a weapon against the masses.
The Havana syndrome, which I believe occurred in 2016, was officially called an anomalous health incident, or AHIS. What do you know about it?
The Havana syndrome was diplomats were at an embassy, and for some crazy reason, they came down with these horrible neurological issues in their body. And the doctor said, we can't figure out what's wrong with them. There's no poison. How could they be so ill? What happened to them? Why are they so ill? Why did they go crazy? Why did they become like, ah? What happened? And it was in the news, And then all of a sudden someone said, a sound frequency can do this. And then all of a sudden you stopped hearing about it. Some journalists figured it out and said, wait a minute. All these symptoms that these people are experiencing, they didn't breathe anything in. They didn't drink anything. There was no poison. They didn't eat anything. Nothing was injected in them because they've all been tested. The only thing that could do that was a sound frequency. And then all of a sudden the journalists vanish and you never hear about it ever again.
Tell us more about these weaponized sounds. Subliminal sounds or messages have been embedded in advertising. We know this for years. Is this all part of the same cabal, the same conspiracy?
The subliminal advertising really isn't, although yes, it is. But subliminal advertising went back to the 1950s, I think, at a drive-in movie. And they had, the movie was playing and they decided to clip out one of the pieces of film and it said, "Buy Coke, eat popcorn." And you didn't see it because it happened so fast. And allegedly, the data was not conclusive or 100% accurate. But popcorn and Coke sales went up 20 or 30% more than before. But it was so effective, we know it was incredibly effective, that the government outlawed it. You can't do that anymore. Okay, then audios came out. Let's put subliminal messages in the audios. Okay, they outlawed that too. So let's make the messages not so subliminal, but they're there, but they're beneath the surface of your conscious awareness, but you can actually hear them. So that's subliminal, and that's been used for a long time. We do this in images, where we create an image. When I say we, when I was with the Brotherhood, we create images. There's a secret science of images, where images are created, and in that image, it will trigger the brain into thinking it's something else. We're very familiar with the picture of the old woman. And we'd say, look at this picture, what do you see? It's an old woman. Okay, do you see the young woman? And someone looks and goes, oh, I see the young woman. And so the picture has two women embedded in it. One is a young woman, one is an old woman. And it depends on your perspective and how you're going into that picture and seeing that picture and perceiving that picture will determine what you see. But the young woman was there all the time, even though you only saw the old woman. That's a form of subliminal programming. But that's different than sound. Sound is a frequency. So we put frequencies out to do things to people. This is a very powerful thing because no one has ever talked about it. I'm the first person to come out and talk about how this is being used, sound is being used by the elites as a weapon to make you subjective to their control, to make you submissive, to make you more docile, to make you do what they say like a clone.
What kind of sounds, what kind of hidden audio or subliminal audio is being used through our appliances, our stores, our phones?
If you look at sounds, it really falls into two categories of, I'll call it evil use or weaponization. The first one is commercial. You have a business, what can I do to increase sales? All right, well, let's see. I now know that the smell of cinnamon rolls will actually make me sexy. So, okay, good. So if I have some cinnamon rolls in my house, when I have a date come over for dinner, I have a chance of, getting lucky. Okay. I mean, we know this. Dr. Hirsch, right here in this town, was a famous expert on smell. So we do know that there's certain things you can do from a commercial standpoint to increase business and increase sales. All right, what's wrong with that? I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with that. Do what you do. Make people happy. Maybe you sell more stuff. That's fine. So that's one use of music, sound, images, smells. Okay. I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is the sounds that are being broadcast that you don't even know about, that's making you docile, that's making you become a slave, that's making you become submissive to authority without questioning. Think about the number of people that just say, oh, I was told this, I heard it on the news. Authority, it's got to be true. The government said this, it's got to be true. The policeman said this, I have to do it. There's this automatic submission without any type of discernment or any type of questioning. You don't question anymore, you just follow orders. That's the sounds we're talking about. And many of these sounds you can't hear. Now think about this. You have a dog. You probably never used a dog whistle, but you heard about a dog whistle. A dog whistle is something that you hold up and you blow really, really hard. And it sounds just like that, which means you hear nothing because you're a human being. Your ear doesn't perceive that frequency, but the dog hears it loud and clear and comes running. Your ear picked it up because it's a sound that's vibrating here. It affected your eardrum. It went into your brain, but your brain didn't, quote, hear it. You didn't perceive it, but it still affects your brain. So imagine having the power to get a cell phone, which you have, I have, and everybody has. Think about the power that you have to say, let's have this cell phone broadcast a frequency that nobody can hear. It's outside of the eardrum range, and it's broadcasting 24/7. And I, the controller, can change it when I want and make the person do what I want. Think about that power. Oh, it's a beautiful thing if you're in power and control. If you're not, it's a scary thing.
But who's in control of these phone companies? Is it the technology company, the carrier itself, that's embedding these signals, these frequencies?
What if I were to tell you that the major manufacturers of phones don't even know that it exists? What if I were to tell you that the major manufacturers of cell phones don't even know that their phones are broadcasting this, and that their phones that are broadcasting it can be controlled by an outside source? When I was in the Brotherhood, we are the ones who are moving the dial, controlling the masses, the cabal, that group of people, that small group of people that control the masses for their own purposes, which is a very long-term game, a long-term end game. We're not talking one generation, it's a multi-generational end game. But the problem is and today more than ever, today it's more than it was 50 years ago. And this is why I'm here. People's individual power, people's individual self-determinism, people's individual ability to create their own life is being suppressed more now than ever before in history.
So the question is, how do people protect themselves from weaponized sound manipulation and assault in real life? What do they do?
So a lot of people, always want to know, well, what do I do to protect myself? If I have if resistance is futile, if you turn on a machine over there and it's just going to make me crazy, what can I do to protect myself? Well, there's two aspects of this, remember. The first one is the ones you hear, the beeps and so forth. Most people have no awareness of all the sounds that are going on in their environment. It becomes complete, they don't hear it anymore. They don't hear the train going by. They don't hear the airplane going overhead. They don't hear the sirens going off. So number one is increase your level of awareness of what you're hearing. If you do that, now you're in control. You're not allowing it to have an effect on you because you actually hear it and you're processing it and you are either accepting it or rejecting it, but you're in control because you're aware of it. So that's number one. The stuff that you're not aware of, what do? If you increase your level of awareness as a being, if you increase that awareness of who you are, of who you really are as a being, then it loses its impact, because the one thing that the cabal does not want you to know is that you can be at cause over your environment. You do not have to be at effect. Knowledge is power, and we've heard that. But knowledge is power only if it's used. Think about that. You have to use the knowledge. I can explain to someone, this is how it is. And at the end of the day, most people say, he's full of shit. That's all BS. I say, good. It doesn't bother me. My life's not going to change. I could care less. I'm not here to try to convince this guy. Fred told me a long time ago, don't try to make a pig sing. You waste your time and annoy the pig. But knowledge is power if it's used. Whether a person chooses to use it or not, that's their choice.